Hey guys, how's it going? Boy M.K.S here. Welcome to another one of my mad videos, and happy Valentine's Day. Now, I myself am a romantic, which means I don't really give a damn about romance, to put it as politely as possible. But I think of it like as a sort of different type of love, so to speak, if you as in charitable, sympathetic, empathetic, and that kind of thing. So I'm not into romantic sort of love or relationships or things like that. But in terms of I think the biblical teaching teaches about and I don't want to focus on one particular religion to be honest, but for this video, but I just want to say thinking about it, the biblical teaching I think talks about different types of love. Like I think one's called agape, which means I think agape means romantic or whatever, and like when you have relationships or with a wife or girlfriend or whatever, and or boyfriend or husband or whatever, respectively. And then there's whatever other types of love, and I can't remember the names of them. But as I say, I'm not into a romantic type of love, but I am into sort of compassion, caring, sharing. Even though I can be tight sometimes, but being sympathetic and that kind of thing. But I thought of quite a few different things I could discuss today, but I'm wary about making too many videos and boring people too much and things like that. But I hope people out there will enjoy this video. And about a week ago, I think, I can't remember exactly when it was, but the 8th, so roughly a week ago, I can't remember, I don't know if it's exactly a week ago, but I'd say roughly a week ago, I talked about the opposite version of this, which some might say is sort of blasphemous and stroke or disrespectful or whatnot, but I thought I'd be honest about some of my more negative thoughts. But anyway, I use Valentine's Day as like not a romantic sort of thing, but as a sort of thing where I talk about like charity, sympathy, empathy, and that kind of thing. So anyway, these specific videos, these specific series of videos are about reasons to love God, and I think of like my own personal reasons, just as I did with the opposite version, which again some might say is disrespectful or blasphemous even or whatever, but I suppose I'm too honest if you like sometimes, but yeah, obviously as I say, this is the opposite version, so it's hopefully a more positive version, but these are my own personal reasons. But I'd love to read in your comments, comments people have about like your own personal reasons or what you think could be potential reasons for loving God. So anyway, here goes. So number one, some people or many people, and I might cover other like reasons why other people might love God as well, but I'm mainly covering my own personal reasons. Obviously, I can't really speak for other people who might have their own reasons, but I mean, you can see online like people talking about reasons why they love God and stuff like that. But so people who are positive about life would probably say for life itself. Those are much more positive than someone who's a pessimist like myself, to be honest. Because I got to admit I'm quite pessimistic about life, which I hope to cover in March, maybe sometimes on the 1st and the 13th, but which I was thinking of doing this month as well. But anywho, as I say, people who are more positive will probably say for life itself there's a reason to love and to record, thank God. And sometimes I do wonder if God wants people to, according to the Holy Bible, it says God wants people to love him, like love God with all your might, heart and soul, and things like that. And so I wonder why God doesn't just like make people happy most of the time, at least maybe not all the time, but make everyone have a life that's good and well worth living, that kind of thing, or at least worth living a little bit. And then give people more choice and stuff like that, and they will love him more. But anyway, I myself was thinking of a selfish reason to love God, which is in the hope that he loves you back, I suppose, or possibly out of fear as well, which I think is a bit of a negative reason, like if you fear that God will punish you if you don't, maybe even send you to hell or just punish you generally, that could be a reason. So I suppose a selfish reason, I'd say, is in the hope that God loves you back or looks after you back and blesses you back more. Both of those things, obviously. Number two, I suppose like lessons that you could learn, like a time and a place for everything, and those sorts of guides, like spiritual guides, religious guides, and that kind of thing, and things you can learn in life. And again, if people are more positive about life, they might say it's a challenge, but it's also full of opportunities and lessons and interesting things as well. At least some of the time, so trying to be more positive as well. In my own case, but yeah, I was thinking like where you could learn things and that kind of thing. Another thing is I suppose I said this in the opposite order to how I was thinking about it earlier, which is obviously before I made this video, I was thinking about what I could cover a little bit, but probably not thinking it as clearly as I would like to. But I'm thinking of each point and whatnot. But I was thinking like company. For instance, a lot of time I love to be on my own because I'm quite creative and I love to be able to think and not have distractions, not have anyone call me or distract me or whatnot. And I think people and even animals can be quite annoying sometimes. It's like my cat just recognized what I said because he seemed to be looking at me when I said that. But honestly, like people and animals can be quite annoying sometimes and can be quite distracting. But if I lived on a planet all by myself, heaven forbid, with no other living things, no people, no animals or whatnot, that would really be quite boring, and I imagine that would not be a very nice place. That would probably be my imagination of like hell. What hell would be like if I was all by myself with no one else around me, probably stuck in darkness as well, like not being able to see and things like that. So and that kind of thing. So I appreciate like company and other people and animals and things like that, even though they can be annoying, as I say. And I appreciate things like light as well as another thing I appreciate. But basically, point number 2 is like company, companionship, and things like that. And also lessons. Like that tells me, I suppose I jumped ahead of myself, but that tells me like there's a time and a place for everything, which is like I think both in the Bible and the Quran, like there's a time and a place for everything, which is where that saying comes from. It actually comes from biblical and Quranic teachings, which is like biblical and Quranic teachings, which teaches that there's a time and a place for everything. So like there's time to rest, there's time to work, there's time to be alone and think for yourself and like have time to think and have your own me time, your own alone time. And then there's a time for having other people around you so they can give you advice, or you can play games, or you can learn from each other, or whatever. Anywho, number 3, I was really struggling to think about this because I disagree with the Bible and most religions' teaching on what freedom is. Like for me, freedom is very different. Like I have 2 or 3 definitions for freedom, which are sort of connected, which is 1, not having to do what you don't want to do without fear of repercussions. So not being forced to do what you don't want to do. So freedom to me is the opposite to force. 2, a second definition I have is not being able to do what you want to do without fear of reprisal or repercussion, and not being forced to not do what you want to do. And the third one is like having choices, which I suppose is connected to the first 2. So I disagree with the biblical teachings about what freedom is. But I suppose I was struggling to think of a point number 3. Like I was thinking like having fun and things like the freedoms we do have, as small as they might be. So having freedom to have fun and make our own decisions to an extent. And I was thinking like free will. So point number 3 is free will. That's another thing, a reason to love God, answer a call, be thankful to God. And as ever, you're free on that note to agree or disagree. Freedom of speech, freedom of expression. I'm a big fan of those things. So you can post things, or you disagree with each point I made, or either point I made, or you agree with, or what, whichever points you agree with or disagree with. Please post those in the comments and kindly let me know. Number 4, forgiveness. I suppose again, thinking from a Christian point of view, like and I suppose most religions will probably say this, like when you do bad things or when you make mistakes and things like that. If you're selfish or you steal or you do something bad, you lie about something or whatever, forgiveness. And I think it's, especially Christianity, I think says about forgiveness and the importance of forgiveness. Again, I might not always agree with all the messages, but I think forgiveness is a really important thing, and also teaching you to forgive as well. So I think forgiving others can be quite freeing, so to speak, because you don't have that burden of being angry, perhaps, although it's not always easy or even possible to do it in many cases. Number 5, I suppose for a lot of people it's something to give them a focus, and also it can be part of like a family and things like that. Number 6, giving work to do. Now I've got to admit, I'm quite I say I like to work smart, but I'm laid back. So many people might call me lazy, probably kind of true, or I can be, but if I could find an easy way to do stuff, I like that. So I'm not really into hard work myself. I've got to admit, I'm a bit allergic to it, so to speak. Allergic to hard work and all that kind of thing. But for a lot of people, like having challenges and things like that, People might say God giving us work to work on. I suppose it prevents us from being bored, and it keeps us out of trouble. Like another biblical teaching, I think, is the devil makes work for those with idle thumbs. So it's apparently factories in the past used to have symbols like that to encourage their workers to work. They used to say the devil makes work for those with idle thumbs and things like that. So, but I suppose if you didn't have any work to do, you'd get in trouble, or you'd get bored and things like that. Number 7, I'm sort of running out of ideas, but if anyone can think of any others that you have, please let me know. 8, I think it's good to love anyway. Love instead of hate, love not hate, and that kind of thing. 9, once again, like giving work to do, like, or for me, I would love God. I was thinking of like also covering like, and again, I'm conscious of making too many videos, but again, I don't want to bore people too much, or at all, preferably. But I was thinking like things that would make me love God more, like if He helped my writing, YouTubing, content creation, and just general plans and ideas and priorities and things like that. Then I think that would make me love God. Well, that definitely would make me love God more. And I should be appreciative of each thing I get to write or work on generally, and that kind of thing. And if people wanted me to love God more, then helping my writing and things like that, and my plans generally would contribute to that. And number 10, I suppose you could, like a lot of things, again, thinking biblically or even in the Quran or whatever other religions, especially those 2 religions, they talk about helping the poor and donate a lot of money to charity and that kind of thing. I think the biblical teaching, like helping the poorest amongst you, like I often think I'd love to help the poorest 10% of people in all possible nations and just generally make people's lives better. And I think some might argue the biblical teaching and other religions as well also talk about that kind of thing. But I'd love to know your views, like for being from different religions, what makes you love God and thank God and be appreciative of God. Like if you're more positive about life itself than me, that might be something like some people even say, thank God for life, but I wish I was that positive. But I've got to admit, I'm not really. But I'd love to know how you think I did. I know I probably stumbled upon, kind of speak probably, my words and sort of basically stuttered a bit, kind of, and whatnot. But I'd love to know how you think I did, even if you give me a mark out of 100, like so a percentage and that kind of thing. But I'm going to stop waffling, and I wish you peace and love. And once again, happy Valentine's Day for those who celebrate it. And I'm out. Peace and love.